In this segment, we shall focus on the characteristics of qualitative research methodology. The knowledge that qualitative research provides is contextual explanation. What explains how and why things are is the meaning that defines the action. For instance, participation in an ASEAN organized program can be defined by the participants' or non-participants' view of what ASEAN is. Qualitative methodology can be characterized as follows. First, insider's perspective as source of knowledge. That is, the knowledge created is drawn from the experience of the participants to the phenomenon being studied, in contrast with the quantitative research with predefined variables drawn from an existing theory. Second, instrumentation of the researcher for data gathering to stay close to the participant. That is, the researcher listens to the participant's account or observes the phenomenon of interest as it is lived, in contrast with quantitative research where there is an instrument for data collection, for instance, a survey form. Third, inductive in process of knowledge creation. That is, research begins with the data to be able to generate theory. In contrast with the quantitative research, which is deductive, there is an existing theory that defines the variables to be tested by collecting data from a particular sample. And fourth, interpretative scheme as output. The interpretation or meaning of the participant or participants is the result of the research. The meaning that defines the action is the knowledge contributed. The theoretical postulations that explains how and why things are, in contrast with quantitative research where the result is validation of existing theory. Let's look at the qualitative study published in the Journal of ASEAN Studies, entitled Women on the Steering Wheel, Identifying the Potentials of Women in Improving the Protection of Indonesian Women Migrant Workers by Sylvia Yazid and Elizabeth Dewi, Volume 3, Number 2, published in 2015. Reviewing its methodology, we can see the insider's perspective. As mentioned in the article, the initial stage of the field research was an identification of potential participants based on their past and present positions and activities within the migration system. It also mentioned that it was able to identify around 20 women who are or were academics, journalists, doctors, social activists, lawyers, government officers, politicians, artists, and public figures, and that they decided and they were able to contact and interview a number of them to represent its grouping of policy influencer. They also mentioned that the participants they chose are those who can access the policy-making process and or public figures who are likely to shape public opinion. On the second characteristic of qualitative research, instrumentality of the researcher, we can see in the article that they interviewed with a set of questions aimed at cultivating data on their relative positions vis-a-vis the policy-making process, the efforts they have made to improve the protection of Indonesian women migrant workers, on the opportunities they have made use of, and the challenges they have faced. On the characteristic of qualitative research that is inductive in process, recorded were the accounts of the practitioners' experience by an NGO activist, first, on case handling to ensure that migrant workers' rights are fulfilled. The data gathered from the case handling process is then used to put pressure on the policymakers. Second, experience of a reputable scholar on the policy brief, research, and book she produced that can be used by related and interested stakeholders, particularly the government, for both short-term and long-term solutions. Third, a veteran journalist through the stories which she wrote and the people who read, to show how the influence of media occurs through the shaping of public opinion which is then expected to put pressure on the government. Fourth, two members of parliament, one sees her status as a parliament member as an opportunity which she makes use by asking to be assigned in the commission which takes care of the issues of migrant workers. And the other, where as a member of the parliament she claimed to have urged, pushed, and put pressures in meeting with related ministries, seeing it is a political contract with the people which if not implemented should be sanctioned. And lastly, a vocal celebrity where her main effort is to inform and encourage society's movement, seeing the society as her main partner and seeing the significant number of our followers in social media as an opportunity to spread information. On the interpretive scheme as the outcome of study, in this particular study, the interpretive scheme is that the women interviewed for their research play active and significant roles within Indonesia's migration system. As they said, while interest groups, in this case migrant workers advocate, can conduct various activities to influence the policy-making process, the actual influence created are very much determined by the strength of the interest group's voices and how accommodative the policy-making system is. The academics, with their type of works, which mainly involve research, have better chances with long-term impacts. As for the media, although the influence is not as strong as generally expected, it still plays a significant role in shaping public opinion, which should be one of the main inputs for policy-making process. The election-related participants, in this case parliamentarians, still have to adhere to their party's agendas and platforms, giving them limited room to maneuver, especially if the party does not see the issue of women migrant workers as one of their main concerns. A celebrity or a public figure may not have direct formal access to the policy-making process, but they have strong influence on the creation and shaping of public opinions. In this case, the interpretive scheme is that participation in policymaking for migrant women workers can be defined by the participants' view of what policymaking is within their country's migration system. You can see here that the knowledge that qualitative research provides is contextual explanation. What explains how and why things are is the meaning that defines the action, the purpose of qualitative research.